is an individual, first of all. So a person has to be there who is going to be an entrepreneur. So normally, uh, when you when you start having these thoughts of being entrepreneur, you have to be an individual. So when I say individual, it means that you should have your own individuality. You should have your own sense of uniqueness. Whatever you want to do being an entrepreneur, there could be a dependency because there should be a team also. But then you should also identify yourself as an individual person who brings some unique skill to the business. So that is really important, that you should be an individual and you should maintain your individuality to become an entrepreneur. Also, during this presentation, whenever if you feel that you had any question, either note it down or please ask me, and I'll try to answer that in the best possible manner. The second thing is the person should have an idea. So that is also a very basic thing, that you should have something in your mind that what you want to do, so that you can start your entrepreneurship. So that idea has to be there. Let's not go deep into what the idea means, or is it something that is already existing, or is it really innovative or not. But let's think that that should be an idea first. Then you should take some actions on that so that you can say that this is an entrepreneurship. So just having a plan is not enough action. You should actually put certain action so that you can actually put that into the practice and execute those plans. So when you execute those plans, then only it really makes any sense. Otherwise, it is not of that much important, even though that's really valuable. So putting an action into what you are thinking is something which is really important. That applies to all the aspect of the life, whether it's a study, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's anything else. You should put that something into the practice and not just giving a thought to it or just having an idea of it. So that is really
Yes,
important.
right.
Then there should be a right creativity. So when I say right creativity, I mean that there is a creativity. Every people can do certain thing in a different way, but to be successful, you should be in the right direction to do that. So, for an example, when Zomato, everyone knows Zomato app. Zomato when starts, it was more of a rating site where a person can rate that. So it was more of a business listing for the restaurants, and people can share the ratings. And when they feel that no, they need to expand and to involve some more domains into it, like delivery of the foods and few other things, they have also before that started branding their name. So what they started to do is they started providing the accessories to the restaurants by giving the Zomato branded sellotapes, Zomato branded tissue papers, stickers on the door, handles, and so many other things, so that they start becoming into the eyes of the end consumer, not just the restaurant, but the end consumer who is going to utilize the restaurant. So when you open the door, there's a sticker. When you ask for a fork, there is Zomato branded fork. When something is been packed to you, they're giving either the polythene bag with their branding. So this is a kind of creativity they have put into their branding and the marketing thing, so that they could be in the face of consumer, even though consumers are not there and their direct client. The direct clients are still restaurants, but because they know that the market is consumer, they try to do the thing so that they can be in the eyes of the consumer, and consumer can have that thing in the back of their mind that there's something like Zomato. There should be a right amount of right direction of creativity that can be there. They could also put the same type of creativity and maybe start giving some bills or the notepads on which the manager in the restaurant takes an order. But branding those things would not help them, because that is never going to be in the face of a consumer. If you compare the same strategy with doctors, all the companies who manufacture the medicines, all these pharmaceutical companies, they give these notepads to the doctors with the name of their company, like Cadila or Pfizer or any other companies in the pharmaceutical. They give that notepad to the doctor with their branding, but they are doing it in that way because that is the cheat that is going to be handed over to customer, to the end user, and to the even to the chemist, where they're going to buy the medicine. So these things will be now in the eyes of their end consumer and in the eyes of their supply chains, so that they can get more business. So you have to put a right creativity into your efforts so that it becomes successful. So you have that the action is same, but Zomato would not apply that practice versus a pharmaceutical company would apply that practice and give these notepads uh, to the doctors. So even the action is same, based on your business, you have to do it differently. So you have to apply the right creativity for that. And definitely innovation. If you want to be a long-term player, so anyone can be entrepreneur by having all these uh, characteristics. But if you want to be long-term player in the market and want to earn a name, or you want to earn the name of your brand, then you have to involve the innovation into your practice. Now, innovation doesn't mean that you do some manufacturing innovation or you do something in the science laboratory and come up with something else. You might need to find an innovative way to do certain process. You might to find some innovative way to handle your clients, something different that would add more values. It would add more time. It would add less stress to your employees or to customers. So you have to constantly think about how can you innovate certain thing, even if it's a very small process. You still think that if there is a chance of improvement, if there is a scope of innovation, you should try to do that. Now, when I say you should, it doesn't mean that always you being an owner should do that even after 5 years of your entrepreneurship or after 10 years, after 20 years. But you should have the right people who give their efforts into this direction also. So if you have all these things, you can call yourself as an entrepreneur. Moving to next thing, what is entrepreneurship? So if you see here, the direct definition of the entrepreneurship, if you go into the Google Translator, you will find that entrepreneurship is like, in Gujarati, it's a sahasikta, in Hindi, it's a udyamita. But what basically it says that uh, you are not literally a businessman here. You are doing something else, entrepreneur. So we have to also consider this thing, that there is this, I feel there is a misconception that doing business is like being an entrepreneur. So I personally believe that that is not very same thing. There might be a little thin line or a difference between these two words. So when I Google the business in terminology, what I find is that's a vyapar. So that is what we mean by the business. So when you do the business, basically what you're doing is you are doing either a trading or a trade, you do merchandise, all sort of those things, where not necessarily that you innovate certain thing or you have really a unique idea or anything else that we saw in the previous slide. So entrepreneur means that you should try to stick to them deliberately, explicitly, and you should not lose those uh, vibes while you are going through that. Definitely, you are doing a business, but then you should have that entrepreneurship mindset with you, even to do the business. So when you have that mindset, your approach to the business is a different. So that makes a typical businessman different from an entrepreneur. So some example of being an entrepreneur is like this innovative app that comes up. Like for an example, there is this Uber or Ola. So taxi drivers are there for ages now. Like at least there are taxi drivers for last 100 years in the world. But this concept of having Uber or Ola, that makes the things different, where it takes the responsibility, it gives a business to the right person without taking too much of an assets on the name of company, and so many other things that they have involved. Even though it's little right now not a profit making business, but still it's a very giant name. So that is kind of an entrepreneurship idea. The credit card that was invented, or the online payment system that is invented, or even the SpaceX thing where they are making the rockets and the launchpad vehicles with Elon Musk. Those are the entrepreneurship things that they are doing. So these are really good thing. Someone is making electrical vehicle, that is also an innovative idea, and they are trying to solve the problems. So these are an example of being an entrepreneur. Even though they are doing business, but they are having this spirit of entrepreneurship while they're doing the business. Versus a typical business is like if someone is a consultant, or someone is a hairstylist, or someone is doing which is a business which is there without any invention in the model of doing business. So that is more like a typical business. So provision store is kind of a business. But now if you do that using the latest tools and technologies, and stick with this concept of being entrepreneur, then these are the things that will make you not just a businessman, but an entrepreneur. So this is, I feel, is like a little bit different, a difference between the entrepreneurship and the business. Now, next thing is from where this word comes, the entrepreneur. So, do you have any idea that from where this entrepreneur word comes from? Any of you? Hello.
No, sir.
Okay. Never mind, because this doesn't matter actually. The reason is because that is not your goal. You should have a goal, and understanding from where this word originate, that doesn't matter. I have Googled it. It comes from the French, but that is not making any difference. If you have those characteristics in you, you don't need to come from the French. These characteristics are there in the people across the globe, in different country for hundreds of years. So that doesn't matter. So again, this is something that you have to understand. Being an entrepreneurship is, you should know what matters you, and you should know what doesn't matter you. So that is also an important thing to understand. You should not go by the textbooks. You should feel that thing, and you should act accordingly. So something it doesn't matter to you, that's fine. It doesn't matter. So that is also something that you have to understand being an entrepreneur. Now, when? So,
Hello.
hello. Okay. So when do you think, how do you identify that you want to be an entrepreneur? What is that time? How do you know that you want to become an entrepreneur? There is this thing in you that has started in you. So how do you know that thing? So the first and the most important thing is that you feel passionate about doing something. If you feel passionate about doing something, that is something that you should start giving thoughts to. That, okay, I'm passionate about doing something, whether it's even playing a game. That is something also passionate. You should think about it, that how can you become an entrepreneur by just being a good gamer or doing something. So first of all, you should have a passion of doing something. So that is important. um, I think most of you have seen this movie Laksh, uh, which is based on the Kargil War. And there's a one famous dialogue in that movie where the father of Preeti Zinta talks to Hrithik Roshan and say that you should have some ambition in your life. You don't have to become a good businessman if you do something very naive, very basic thing. But if you're really good at it, that's a good thing. So you should have that ambition in yourself. You should have that zeal in yourself. So that is something that you can also relate that to this also, that you should feel passionate about it. So how do you identify that you feel passionate about something? So there are certain characteristics from which you can identify that. The first characteristics is that it pushes you to do something. You are sitting, but having that idea just throws you out of your chair. It gives you that push inside you that you can do it, even at 12 o'clock in the night. It pushes you. So if you feel that something is definitely pushing you, so that you can consider you're passionate about it. If something is drives you, so if you're doing something and you never get bored of doing it, if you think that okay, this is something that you feel you are enjoying doing it, so that is something which you can say that it drives you. So you are also passionate about that thing. Something that wakes you. So either, I mean, you spend hours and hours till maybe let's say 2 o'clock in the night, 3 o'clock in the night, maybe a whole night. Once you have that thought in your mind at 10 o'clock in the night, and it just gives you goosebumps, it doesn't let you sleep. So that is, or something that in the middle of the night when you're sleeping, it wakes you up, and then with that thought, you are not able to sleep. Sometimes it's a health issue also, but if it's not the health issue, then maybe you are really passionate about something. So you should really start thinking more about that. The fourth thing is that tunes you. So what does the tuning means? That when you're doing it, some of your body starts doing something in the rhythmic pattern. Whether you are clapping when you're doing that, whether your hands are moving, you are banging your bench or your table, or you're doing something with your fingers. So it puts, while you're doing it, it puts you in certain rhythm. That is also something that you can consider that you're passionate about that thing. So it gives certain thing in your body, and your body start doing in a specific rhythm. So you can identify that you are really passionate about it. Last thing I think is like it sparks you. So when there is a conversation about that particular topic, your eyes shines, your interest level raise, your focus raise. So if that happens with any particular topic, you can also consider that you are passionate about it. So you should really think about it. The one problem that I have seen with many of my friends, and I have also give enough thought to that. I have seen it with my colleagues and my employees also, that after doing a job for a few years, or after doing a business after a few years, they start feeling that I'm not made for this, I'm not cut out for this, I should do something else, I'm not having the satisfaction of doing something. If you start feeling that, then you realize that, I mean, I wish I have thought about it few years back, and maybe I had a different person, I'm a different person, maybe in a different domain. So what happens basically is that you become late to identify your passions, and you go into the wrong industry, you're doing something wrong with your life, and you realize either it's really, you're fortunate enough if you realize it in the first couple of years of your career. If you realize after 7, 8, 10 years in your career, then you start feeling that, oh, this now it's little late, and then it's become little difficult for most of the people to change the career at that point of time. So it's really good that you start thinking about these things, that what is your passion, and what you want to do in your life. So with this few signs, you can identify that you have, I think, these 2 or 3 passions, and then maybe you can plan your career accordingly. So this way, this is little important. It will give you some directions, that where do you want to go. Sometimes you don't know yourself. You talk to your parents, you talk to your friends, you talk to your boyfriend, girlfriend, your family members, and they try to guide you. But the most important thing is that that the voice comes within you, and these things would help you to identify that voice. Having said that, feeling passionate about it and you are doing and starting the entrepreneurship is really good thing. You should go for it. But at the same time, you should not be an opportunistic. For example, there is a when like 6 to 8 months back from now, in the month of March, in the month of February, you started feeling that this is going to be really crazy, the COVID-19 situation, there'll be lockdowns and so many things. So what you do is you find this idea that let me stock out the face mask, let me stock out the sanitizers because there'll be a demand for that. I mean, that's a clever thought, but you are being opportunistic over here because you see that there is a chance of earning money. Let me jump into it. So being an opportunistic, having that nature of being an opportunistic is good, but it should not take a driving seat to decide your career. So try to avoid that thing if possible and follow your passion first of all, then trying to be opportunistic. I have seen many people with me who were doing job with me or who are doing who are like a part of my team under the Tech Compose, and they started doing freelancing because they feel that they're doing coding, they're doing little bit of client communication, they would be able to do the business on their own, and they just jump into freelancing thing. And some of them soon realize that after one project it's really difficult, after two projects it's really difficult. It disturbs your work-life balance, it disturbs your nightlife, it disturbs so many things at the social level and health level issues. And then you started to realize, and then you go back to the job mode. I have seen so many people, specifically in the IT industry, doing that because they just want to be opportunistic. They found somewhere there's a requirement, they can give some job, and it gives them double the salary that they would earn otherwise if they're doing job, if they're doing freelancing. So seeing that, they just jump into it, and that is not going to help in a long run. So that is kind of an opportunistic move. I would say if you want to do it out of passion, not out of opportunity. So that is a good thing. But having said that, being an entrepreneurship, you should also identify your opportunities. But at that time, you're following your passion and you're seeing opportunity in your passion, and that is more important. So you should always consider this thing. Now move on to the next thing. How you become an entrepreneur or a successful entrepreneur. I don't know if you know this character. Any of you know this character? Let me tell you, this is a character from the Incredibles animation movie. This was a designer who designed the suits for those superheroes. And there is one line which he says in that movie, which I really like, which is luck favors who prepares. So what does that mean is you should be prepared. You should prepare yourself. You should be prepared. If you are prepared and the opportunity knocks on your door, then you should be able to get the right benefit out of it. If you are not prepared, even if it comes, you identify it, but you cannot get the best out of it. So the bottom line is that you should be prepared for that. Now, how you prepare yourself to launch as an entrepreneur? So you should do a good research and analysis for that. So once you identify that you're passionate about something, you should really research about it. It doesn't have to be always a very unique idea. Like there are thousands and thousands of e-commerce sites, and maybe at least 50% of them are successful. They are generating profit. So if that is the case, it means that e-commerce site is not a bad idea to start with. So you should definitely go for it. But try to do it in a different, maybe try to do it for a different product. Try to do it in a different way, for a different zone, for a different people, with different structure, different policy. So you can really do so many different things over there. So in a way, there should be something unique to your approach. But once you identify your passion, you should do the research and analysis into it using Google. Try to join some YouTube channel and try to understand from that, and try to do something else with that. Maybe try to identify some mentor for you who can help you out with that, whether it's an industry person or out of industry. So you should do some research and analysis part first. Now, what the research analysis means that you should validate your passion or your idea for that. You should see that really that is going to help or not. With this technological advancement, there are so many businesses or ideas that are now out of date. I think 15 years back, the STD booth was really good idea, 15, 20 years back, but now they are absolute. There are so many ideas now which are now they are absolute. They even the opening of the restaurants 4-5 years back, opening a restaurant is a good business. Now you can still earn the same amount of money without opening the restaurant by using Zomato and few other delivery apps, and you can earn equal amount of money by just running a kitchen and not the whole restaurant out of it. So you should do a right market study for that also. You should also identify the source of revenue before you jump into the entrepreneurship. That how you're going to make the revenue. You should prepare a business plan. So business plan includes the market study, source of revenue, but then so many other things as well, like study your competitors, study about what you will do in 2 years of time, how you launch, what type of people you would need, what's the budget, and all that sort of thing you have to identify. So basically you have to identify the different resource at a part of business plan. The resource like finance. So if you start your entrepreneurship, from where you get the money, whether it's a bank loan, whether it's funded by your parents, whether it's from your savings, whether it's from your job and you're doing this entrepreneurship as a side business apart from your doing job. So how do you get the finance? You have to understand that. You have to understand the importance of that finance, how much portion of the finance you're using. And then you have to think about the team. If you're doing it alone, that is fine. But after some time, you also find about the team. Even if there is a barber, if he want to become a successful, he want to have some staff of his person where he first of all doing on his own with one chair, then he will involve 2-3 chair and 2 more barbers working beneath him. So that's how you grow. So you have to also think about your team also at some point of time. That includes also your chartered accountants also, for that matter. You can consider that also as a team who can financially advise you. So these are certain steps that you have to put into practice before you actually start your entrepreneurship. Now comes to the main topic, which is skills. What skills do you need here to become an entrepreneur? So you can see this image. This is the F1 racing. The car is coming and they are changing few things and maintain for certain things, refuel the car. And in few seconds, they are doing it. They are doing maybe maximum 10 seconds of time, and they're doing so many things in that. So you can see that there are so many people over here that are doing different jobs. They are assigned for that, and they are skillful for that. So they are really skillful for that, and they know the job they have to do in just fraction of seconds. They have to take decisions. They have to do so many things in those seconds. So you should be really skillful for doing that. So you should also think yourself as equivalent as all these people. So different skills that you need. First of all, you need a technical skills. When I say technical skills, it doesn't mean the computer science skills or the programming skills necessarily. You are MCA students, so definitely you should have a programming skill, because that means that you're doing good use of your time. Even though you're very good at the communication and so many other factors, if you are doing something for 3 years of time and you think that you're not good out of it, it means that you're not doing good use of time. So just to be productive, or just to be sake of doing justice to your time, you should be good. When you complete your MCA, you should be good at certain programming languages. That will give you good confidence that you have not wasted 3 years of life, because if you're just being good, you can do it in 1 year program somewhere else. If you want to just be good in the communication. So as you join for MCA, you should be good in some of the programming language, or at least computer science concepts. With respect to your profile, that should be the criteria. If someone is doing MBA in marketing, then there are some technical skills needed to be a good marketing person. If you're doing sales, if you're doing finance, you should be good at those technicalities of being a finance person or a marketing person or a sales person. So with doing every job, there is some technicalities involved. So you should be good at some technical skills that will be needed to do that particular type of business. So that is really important. The second thing is a communication skill. Now there is a asterisk mark. It means that it's important. So this is a general skill that you should have. Even if you are a really good technical person, you'll be great developer. At certain period of time during your entrepreneurship, you should communicate. Now, communication could be with your internal team members, communication with your client, communication with your client of client, communication with your competitors, communication with so many other people. You should be good at communication at some point of your time. If you don't have that skill and you're really having a fear of doing a good communication, that is a problem. Now, when I say communication, it doesn't mean that you have to sell something. Communication means that you should be able to convey your thoughts. You should be able to express yourself. And at the same time, you should be also listen. You should have a good listening capabilities also. So that is our third point also, which is focus and listening. So you should also improve your skills of focus. So if you are having this problem of after every 20-30 minutes you want to do something else, you frequently get bored of doing something, then you should put more efforts into sitting for long hours or doing something for long hours. That would improve your focus skills. So you have to do that. You have to do it explicitly, even if you don't want to do it. If you don't have a good focus, if you do this practice of sitting for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, that is really going to help you. And after those 30-40 minutes of sitting, you actually become so much more productive. So when your brain actually starts producing and giving you the best out of your mind, you just jump to something else, and that breaks the whole chain. So you should always try to sit for long hours and improve your focus on that. And along with that, listening. You should listen good. You should listen right thing. You should listen with the context. So all these things are important, because if you listen well, then only you can express yourself or attend certain concerns. If you are in a wrong direction, then that is not a good thing. That is definitely you're going to the south. That is not going to help you. So listening capability is really important. Even being a programmer or being at a management level, you should have a good listening capabilities. Something that is being told to you between two lines, something is not been told explicitly that I'm having this problem, but by listening to someone, you should know that they are facing this problem. So you should really listen good. That is, I mean, I cannot give more emphasis to that, but it's really important. Then the next thing is ability to learn. Now, ability to learn is really important. So your learning doesn't stop when you graduate or postgraduate. You keep learning. You learn every day. I'm doing it on a daily basis. Right now, I'm learning Python because I think that I should learn that. I'm learning machine learning. I'm not able to spend a good amount of time into it, but I plan my schedule accordingly and start. I have put practice into it. So after 11 years, I am still putting practice into learning new things, because I have the thing that I want to give the right solution to my customers, to my clients. And one framework or one programming language or a two programming language would not satisfy all the scenarios. So I have to think about certain other things also. So you have to constantly learn the things, whether it's a technical thing, whether it's a communication thing, whether it's a negotiation thing, whether it's a planning thing, whether it's a budget thing, whether it's a HR recruitment thing. You have to keep learning certain things, and you should know what you learn, because you are facing certain problems in your day-to-day life, and you feel that you should know that. Even I sometimes I spend time into how to raise a kid. I have an 8-year-old son. I try to learn from the videos from different platforms that what should the right parenting skill, how should I avoid certain things, how should I convince my son not to play more than 15 minutes of a game on a mobile. So there are so many things that you can learn, and you should learn. You should keep learning. There is a concept of retirement, and that is really important in India. After 50 years, after 55 years, after 60 years, we start getting retired and we want to live the life of retirement and spend time with the kids or doing something that we like, that we haven't done. All these things are good, but you should really not think that way. You should never give your mind this concept of retirement. I've visited US many times. I've spent times, I've stayed there, we meet many people. I mean, my partner in US is 67 years old and he's as energetic as I am. He's working 14 hours, 16 hours sometimes. Not literally a walk towards a business, but doing something else. But he's active for 16 hours and spending more than 8 hours on a daily basis on the work also. And his friends that I have met, they are also around that age, and they are so much active in their life. They are doing business, they are doing something else, but they are so much active. So this concept of retirement, you should never think that in your mind. You should learn every time. There is no maximum age that you should stop learning. Then the analytical and problem solving skill, you should have that thing. Even if you are an HR doing a job, if you have that skill of analyzing your environment, analyzing how you communicate or other people communicate with you, that is good. If someone comes with a problem to you, whether it's a programming challenge or whether it's something regarding infrastructure, something regarding how the project is being managed, you should try to find out the solution. So you should always think about a solution. You should always think about, in a way, moving forward. So you should always think about that. You should have that mindset to think positive, moving forward, and problem solving. If you have that thought process, that will definitely help you. So when you are into that situation, try to be forward thinking, try to be positive about it, and try to solve the solution. Maybe not all the solution, maybe one step at a time, but you should do that. And you can do that easily if you have a good analytic skill. So that is really important. That will help you in all aspects of your life as well. The another thing is innovation and the creativeness. So that is, as I said, being an entrepreneur, you should be innovative at certain aspect of your entrepreneurship. You should be creative also at certain point of time. So I'll give you just a recent example. Being creative is that I have not prepared the presentation slides in last 5-6 years of time. I have done so many Excel sheets, so many documents, but I think I never came across a presentation. Maybe I would say after my MCA, I think I have done few seminars in the GLS where I was explaining the Ruby on Rails to the students and all that. And at that time, I was doing the PPT. But after that, I have never done that. And when I was doing this, I was going for this, I have started doing it, and I have to brush up certain skills. I have to think that how can I do that and try to be simple and a little bit creative, but not too much of a creative, because I'm not a designing person at the same time. So I had to put certain creativity into it. So that is something that I have to do on a daily basis also. So you should always try to think creative, or you can also say it as like an out of box also. So that is also a good thing. You should be definitely fearless. That is really important, because there will be so many problems that you're going to face. There will be so many worries that you will be feeling. Even if there is no problem, you will start feeling something about the future, and you start fearing about those things. So one thing that you should have is that you should be fearless. Even if you start feeling fear about something, that's all right, but then you should remind yourself that you have to be fearless. You have to face this, and that will definitely help you to face that fear. So you should be fearless. You should good at the sales also. Even if you're doing something, you are doing something in the very beginning for your own, and then you will have a team of salespersons who are doing it for you. So in the very beginning, you have to sell. So whether it's a selling of your idea, whether it's a selling of your concept, whether it's a selling of your point in the group discussion, that you think this is the right, and you have to sell this to the panel. So at every point of time, there is a sales involved into it. There is a communication involved into it. You have to convince the people. So you have to sell your thoughts. You have to sell yourself. You have to sell your brand. So selling is there inevitably. You have to know how to sell yourself. If you're not able to do it, you will not get based out of you. So that is really important to know how to sell. Then branding, marketing, networking skills. These are the skills that are really important. If you have a really niche skill about that, your product or your skill becomes your branding or your marketing or networking. For an example, Arijit Singh. I mean, he's one of the example who don't care about market himself, who don't care about networking, who don't care about branding that much. That's what I have came to know after listening some videos about him. That when he's not singing, he's in his own world. But still, people needs him in every movie to sing a song, at least one song for that movie, and that is because he's having that skill which talks about himself. So his singing skill is talking about himself. But not everyone is fortunate enough. So you should have this branding skill, marketing skill, and networking skill. Branding and marketing skill is something that when you start facing a problem, you will develop that thing in yourself. So that is something that you will develop over the period of time. But networking skill is something that where you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and you have to do that. You have to meet people, you have to meet the right people, you should be in the right group. So that is really important, and you have to push yourself. Branding and marketing is something when you start facing problem, you start facing competition, you would start posting on the LinkedIn, you will start posting on the Instagram, you will start posting or maybe creating the YouTube videos. You will start doing certain things. So that is something that will start coming inside you. Once you start doing the analysis, when you have this problem solving skill, you will start working on it. Networking is something that even if you are an introvert person, you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and you have to do something, or you should have someone who do it for you, but you should start doing that. So this is also another thing that you have to have in your skills. Now the next thing which comes as a risk. Now risk is something which is there. I mean, now there is a famous line. Maybe you all know that risk hai to ishq hai. So that is how it means. Actually, I mean, there is a risk in the life everywhere. Even if you're doing job, there is a risk. I mean, in doing any activity, there is some certain amount of risk, and definitely the businesses are also having the risk. So now the risks are identified maybe in two segments: the external risk and the internal risk. And now the external risk is something where you more or less have no control over that. I mean, normally you would not have a control over that unless you are a majority player and in a monopoly, and you just start buying the other businesses. Then that's a different thing. But otherwise, you might feel the competition. So definitely in the beginning of your entrepreneurship, you will find competitions. Either you are another player into the already existing market, or if you are a new player starting a new market, like let's say Uber, but then there'll be people who will follow you and start following you and have the similar type of business as you are having, the similar type of idea that you are having. So you will start feeling the competition for that. So when you start feeling the competition, you should not get fear about it. You should not have fear about it. You should follow what you want to do, why you came to do this, what's wrong with this, how you can make it better, how can you add value more to your consumer than the other player in the competition. So, but competition is something that you have to face and you have to work around it, but you don't have a control. So you have to do something on your own to do that. And the second thing is out of date thing. So that is also another thing that is not sometimes in your control. For an example, there's a BlackBerry, which is BlackBerry phone. 10 years back, it was called as like a very premium phones. They were very costly also. They called as like a business phone for the business people. But with the iPhone comes into the market, and slowly, gradually, the SMS and the WhatsApp comes into the picture. That whole company become like almost absolute. The niche feature that they were providing about SMS and text and all that whole thing now WhatsApp is giving for free to the people. And with iPhone, they are having really great devices, very easy user interface and all that.
So that whole company, what millions of dollars, maybe $1 billion company, is valued to maybe 5% of its valuation earlier. So you started becoming out of debt. So what you have to do, you should start discovering, and you should start try to do the things, innovate the things. And Nokia is one such example. Nokia used to be a company who manufactured I think the papers in the very beginning. Then it moves into the, I think, digital cameras and all that. Then it becomes a cell phone with a cellular phone, and it becomes a giant at one point of time. And then this iPhone came, and that completely goes down. And I mean, then there were other players. Then there was an iPhone, and then the Android was newly developed, and Android was called as like not a proper competitor to the iPhone, because Apple was having so great things and so much security and all that Apple Android was not providing. But then Android also learned and introduced so many things, so now it can compete with the iPhone. And maybe now you can maybe consider that maybe it's I think 50-50, maybe 60-40 market share between Android iPhones. Maybe iPhone has maybe even lesser market share compared to Android phones. So that is a thing that one has to do constantly improvement, because you don't want to be out of date. Nokia is also doing with a new set of phones and all that. So you have to constantly do that thing. But then there are certain internal risks also, where you have a good control and you can try to solve them. So one thing is about the quality. Whether you are into the manufacturing business, whether you are into something else, that is really important to have a quality. Whatever you are delivering, whether you're delivering product, whether you're delivering services, whether you're delivering IT services, anything you are delivering, there should be a quality to it. Quality to it. If you are going down with the quality, then that is a risk. If you identify that you are going down with the quality and you are not doing something, then you will start fearing. You should really do something about your quality of your output. So that is really important. The second risk to the entrepreneurship is the value for money. You are doing a good quality work, but you are selling at a really high price point. Then that is something that you should think about. For an example, iPhones. iPhones were really costly, like 1 lakh rupee. I mean, that is too costly in Indian market compared to 35,000 phone in Android. So it's really costly. So iPhone have to think about the cheaper iPhones. Now they have iPhones, I think, in 45,000, 50,000, also 60,000. So now they are trying to address all the different people and providing the same amount of quality, almost same amount of quality, maybe a different experience, but almost same amount of quality. So so they have something for everyone, so that they have a value for money. So that is also important for the people to understand that they are providing the value for money. If there is a different type of customer, you should have a different type of structure in your business to address that. So value for money is also important, but that is a risk that you can avoid, because it's an internal risk. Another is a lack of innovation. So lack of innovation is if you're not able to introduce any new processes and you're using 20 years old techniques to do the same thing, then I think you should really think about how to involve the new technologies into it, how to use the new tools, new platforms to do the same thing in a better way. Most of the people, I mean, we have been developing the accounting softwares for the people, and we are using QuickBooks for most of our solutions to feed the data for the company's accounts, and we are developing the reports on that for different businesses. Now, QuickBook is something which is available online, so we can develop so many solutions on that. Now, one of my friend who is a chartered accountant, he asked me that he want also similar solution, but they want to use the Tally for that. This was a discussion maybe 5 years back that I had with that person. And at that time, I think there was not a good support of Tally for the online presence. And that makes so many blockage to do certain things, even if it's really important. But because Tally is not there online, and even if it's there online, it's not that easy to integrate. with the other solutions, there were so many issues, and so there are so many opportunities that cannot be tapped on because of that. And QuickBook, people find it very costly, because Tally is like free with the pirated version. You can install it and can start using it. So these are the things you can consider as a lack of innovation. You should really put that focus into it, and if you do that, then you can really have a good opportunity to cover a lot of market share there. So this is something that you should also think about time to time in your entrepreneurship. Then unethical practice. That is something that you should always think about, that are you following unethical practice in your business? If you are doing it, start avoiding that, start moving to more of an ethical practices. Whether it's something that you do as a management level, with your employee, with your customer, or during the product development, you should really try to shift that and go to more ethical practice. If something has been done under without your knowledge by someone from your team, you should try to find out by putting some checks and balances, and try to identify if someone is really being unethical, cheating the company, cheating the client, cheating the processes, finding out the loopholes in the processes. You should try to find out and solve that issue, because that is going to involve the risk at a future level. So you should try to also analyze those things. So these are the things that are like internal and external risk, and then there are some solutions to those risks. How can you solve those problems or solve these risks? The first thing is, you should do the market study. If you are let's say if you are facing a competition risk or out of date risk, you should do market study, that what competitors are doing, and try to learn the new things to do it and how to improve yourself. So you should do market study. Then you should do innovation. So that will also going to help you, like this lack of innovation would help you. Quality thing, if you involve new tools and technology and checks and balances into the process, the quality can be improved, the unethical practice can be identified. So these things can be identified, the risk can be identified at a very initial stage, so that you can have a good control over it before it becomes too late for you. So innovation is going to help you in that thing. Branding is also going to help you. So if you have a good branding strategy and all that, then the competition is something that you can easily take care of it. So that would help you. Value for money, where you can also help yourself with it. So this is going to be helpful to you if you do some branding and put your efforts into branding. If you put your efforts into quality professionals, that is also be a solution to it. So even if you need to spend 1 lakh more for some person in the annual package, but if that person is really going to bring so much value to the business, you should definitely spend that additional 1,000 instead of going for cost effective or a cheap professionals who are not that skillful and going to be more of a liability than an asset to the company. You should always think about hiring valuable people to your team, the people you consider them as an asset. Even if you need to pay a little extra for that out of your profit, you should do that, but you should have a quality professionals to do that, to do your work. So if you do that, then you can have solution to the risk that you might be facing. Then the next thing is commitment. Now, commitment is something where I was thinking of putting commitments, but then I thought that it should be good to call it as a commitment, because once you have a commitment, it means that you have a single focus to certain thing. If you have commitments, it means that you are distributed or divided into so many other things. And when you are divided into so many other things, it will reduce your productivity, it will reduce the quality after a certain period of time, and it will reduce the sense of satisfaction of doing the work that you are doing. So that's why I would say that there should be a single focus, and there should be only a commitment, but not the commitments to it. The pointers where you can say that like you are committed. So when you know your priorities, that what is your priority, it also means that you can say no to the other things, because you know that what is the priority for you. So when you say no to other things, it means that you know your priorities. It means that you are committed to something. If you don't know priorities, for an example, if I want to lose the weight, but I'm talking about it for last 2 years. I'm not doing anything about it. And whenever someone tells me that you're not losing your weight, you're just telling about it, just talking about it, it means that you don't know your priority. You say that I'm busy with this work and that work, I don't get time because I need to give time to this and that. It definitely means that you don't know the priorities. Or if you're just talking about losing your weight, it just you are talking about it, but it's not your priority. So when you know that you have a priorities, it means that you are committed to something. When you start taking responsibilities. So if I'm doing a business and I have a team of 10 people, one of them is an HR, and suddenly HR is sick for 10 days, and but there is still a pressing requirement. Then what you do is you start taking the HR's responsibility, whatever way you can do it, whether you're skillful or not, but you start taking it. Or you start assigning that responsibility to someone else rather than waiting for 10 days to come her back and then start doing her work. So when you start taking responsibilities, you can say that you are committed to something and the goal is there in your mind. So that is also a sign that you're committed. Then willingness to take the risk. That also means that you're committed. So if you're going and opt for a bank loan, let's say of 20 lakhs, because you're going to have a rented place and you're going to have some infrastructure, some laptops, and you're going to have some subscription of some platform and all that. So basically, you are prepared to take a risk of 20 lakhs of loan, and you are up for that because you have certain something in your mind that you have committed to, that I want to do this thing. So when you start doing the risk, it also means that you're committed to it. So you can identify that you are committed if you start taking the risk for that. If you're doing risk of jumping from one place to another, it means that you really committed to reach to that place. If you're driving fast, I mean, I would not advocate that. But if you're driving fast to reach out somewhere, it means that you are really committed to reach somewhere. So all these things are pointer that you're committed to something. Then that should, if you feel that you have a hunger to do better. So if you're doing good, if you're earning 10 lakhs every year and you're happy about it and you're satisfied about it, that's good thing that you're doing something you like and you are earning out of it. But if you start feeling that no, I want to earn 12 lakhs or a 14 lakhs next year, or if you're delivering something and you feel that no, I want to deliver even a better product next time, or I want to do even a better thing next time, if you start feeling that type of thoughts, getting that type of thoughts of doing better than what you are already, it also means that you're committed to something. Then strong decisions. So when you think that you're taking strong decision, which is also like taking a responsibility, but in a different way, that you are, let's say you are firing someone, even though that person is really talented, but you are firing that person because you are committed to certain thing that you really don't want this person as a part of your team, because this is a person who is going to spoil the environment of the other people, or who don't know exactly, or he's not go along with the goal of the organization. So when you start taking the strong decisions, or you move away from your home and living in the rented apartment so that you give more time to the business, or if you spend more time into the market, if you spend spend late nights in the office, spend less time with your family, if you're taking these strong decisions in your life, if you wait for marriage for another 2 years to be more settled down in your business. So these are strong decisions. It also means that you are committed to something and you should appreciate yourself for that. But when you are committed, there will be challenges. When you are doing the business, when you're committed to something, there will be things that will shake you and shake your commitment. So when you're facing those type of challenges, when you start fearing of something, when you start feeling down, when you don't feel confident about it, so when you are into commitment but you are facing challenges, I suggest you should keep doing it. Don't quit about it. Keep doing it. Maybe start to involve more of analysis into it, but still keep doing it instead of just hold everything and just spend time and think about it. Go for a vacation for 10-15 days and think about whether I should change the career or what. you should really keep doing it. If you are doing fairly well, I prefer you should keep doing it. That's what I have done. I have faced so many setbacks in my last 7 8 years of career being an entrepreneur, but I kept doing it. Whether it's a little costly for me, whether it's only me who is doing certain things, but I kept doing it. It really helps me. Then revisit your agenda also. Whenever you're facing challenging, revisit your agenda or the reason that you thought about in the very beginning that you wanted to do it for this reason. So you should revisit your agenda of doing entrepreneurship. That will help you being more committed to it or keep committed to it. You should maybe set some new long-term goals again. Maybe you had set some goal that you want to achieve or you want to have a team of 50 people in next 3 years of life. And after 2 years, you see that you only have 10 people, maybe give 3 more years. So instead of 3 years, make it 5 year goal. And maybe make some other short-term goals also that I want to reach this by this and this by this. Maybe give some short-term goals as a steps and then to achieve a long-term goal. But you should start doing that. If you're doing that during a challenging period, it will keep your commitment stronger. When you are in a on a downtime, you're really feeling low that you are not great and certain things are not going good. You should start composing yourself. You should start mentally becoming mentally strong on these things. If you start doing those things, then again you will feel that feeling that you are committed to do that. So whenever it's a downtime, you should start composing yourself that okay, maybe I need to little bit more technical strong. Maybe I need to be more strict on doing certain thing, or I have to be little more lenient of doing certain things. But you should start composing yourself first of all. You should not be scattered all around the place that I could maybe do this or do that or do something else or start asking 10 different people on doing that. You should be composed in your actions. And another thing is you should not react to it. So reaction is something that you should not do. It's a little compulsive thing. When you face some problem, don't react. When I say react, it doesn't mean that you should not have an output to it. You should not have an answer to it, but you should have a response to it. So every time I say to many people is that in this situation, that also applies to the personal life also. Whenever there is something happens, someone says something to you, don't just react, but respond to the situation. When I say respond, when you start thinking about responding it means that you're thinking about thinking forward, thinking about a long-term solution, thinking about positive solution, thinking about with the problem-solving mindset instead of કે એને બાદશાહ નાખ્યો તો હું ઉપર એકકો નાખી દઉં. That is not the way to do it. You should always respond to it. You should think, sit back, and then respond to the situation rather than to a person. So you should respond rather than reacting to the situation. You should also, whenever you feel challenges, you should get energized. You should maybe start doing some physical exercise. Maybe you should go for a small break and prepare your mindset that how you want to come back with it. So you should basically try to energize yourself, make your mind a little bit more fresh and doing certain things. And then you also have you should keep a perspective about it. So you should think about a different aspect of that failure. You should see the things in a different situation and try to find out the solution. There is always another solution or another way to look at the things, look at the challenges. If you keep that perspective, you will find the strength to keep to your commitment. So that is also an important thing. Then next thing is a professionalism. Professionalism is something that I find is really crucial. That also means that, I mean, whenever I visited US or the European countries, I found that they are really professional to their work. They really I found them really professional about their work. And that makes me really boost in my energy to do even better in my work also. And nowadays, because we can work with any person from any corner of the world, we should be really professional. This is a bad thing about the India, that they feel that the Indian people are not punctual or Indian people are not professional enough. So there is this mindset in the developed countries, and we have to be very professional to respond to that thing, uh, rather than going into the argument by reacting to it. So we have to be really professional, and when I say professional, we should have a set boundaries for everyone, that one should not cross those boundaries. There should be enough encouragement for the personal improvement. For an example, there should be a dress code involved into the team, or there should be certain type of infrastructure involved into the team, uh, so that a person could feel comfortable, or person should feel motivated or energized while doing the work. So if you see all the salesmen, normally they wear sometimes, most of the times, like ties and suit and all that when they do the presentation, all that. So that is like an attire that makes you feel comfortable, at the same time confident, and that is help you to present certain things. So you should have a right attire for your job. Then you should promote and maintain the accountability. So you should always try to assign the right sense of responsibility to the right person. If that person knows the responsibilities, and he knows that he's accounted for doing something, she knows accounted for doing something, then you don't need to put so many efforts. So that knowledge should be transferred. We should promote that idea of accountability in the business, in the entrepreneurship. Uh, you should always respect your authorities and yourself. So no matter how you personally think about it, when you are doing a business, when you are in the workplace, you should respect your subordinates and your authorities, because that will only help you to solve the problems. You should not become a rebellion, and try to oppose the management or to oppose the seniors and try to get the solution out of it, because that is not the way to get the solution. So you should always, first of all, give respect, because that's how you will also get the respect. Everyone likes to have the respect. So that is also important, to a step towards becoming professional. And you should always boost the respect also to minimize this conflict. So if you respect someone, if you say on a daily basis, good morning, sir, or if you address the person with a respect, then whenever there is a difference of opinion, where there's a high chance of getting into conflict, because of the respect, you can avoid that conflict and solve it in a more professional way, more formal way, rather than going into an argument that is not going to help anyone. So you should always boost respect, even for that matter also. And then you should adopt the industry standard. So if there's an industry standard or a business standard, that you should have a certain attire, you should have a certain infrastructure, you should have a certain start incoming, incoming time and the outgoing time from the office, and few other things. If those are the industry standard, then you should follow that. If you're a salesperson and you say that it's 8 o'clock, I'm out of the office, let's talk on the Monday. That is not the way to talk to your client, being a salesperson. So because in the industry, there is a standard that you should be polite, you should be respond, you should attend the problems of the client. So you have to consider all these and respond with the balanced approach, and you have to adopt those industry standard. Even if you are not familiar with it, or you are not okay with it, you are having problem with it, you should adopt that, because that's an industry standard. Then the last thing is the deliverables. Now you can see here, there's a surgery going on here, and the doctors are doing this surgery. So that is what I mean by the deliverables. You should have that highest level of professionalism and deliverables as a doctor would have during the surgery. When they open your body, they're doing open heart surgery, you're doing any kind of surgery, they are so much cautious. Ideally, they should be cautious, and that's what we are also expecting. Even if we are patient, or if we are relative of patient, or if we are any third person not related to that patient, we expect that doctor should do the best, and they should not do the blunders. And they should treat the patient, they should give the right treatment to the patient during the surgery. So that is the highest level of focus that they are having during that time. They can be little casual because now they are very used to doing the surgery, but when they're doing actual surgery, they are really focused on it, and they are delivering a solution for your disease during the surgery. So even if you are a developer, if you are a salesperson, if you are doing anything, or if you are just doing a job, you should have that amount of deliverables or that standard of deliverables in your mind. So that's why I put this image, because you should always consider that doctor. You should put yourself in the shoes of doctor, and whatever you're doing, you should put that like as if you're doing it during the surgery room or in the operation theater. Now, the deliverable starts with you should start listening to your customer. It means that you start listening to your patients. The person is having the problem. You should start listening to them. Once you listen to them properly, then only you can suggest some solutions to that. Otherwise, not. The second thing is you should adopt the latest tools and technology. If you're using the age-old tools and technology for surgery, that is not going to help you. You should have the latest tools and technology. So you should always use that in your business, in your entrepreneurship phase also. Try to use the latest tools and technology. That will always help you out. Sometimes it may be a little costlier to you. You should plan about going for a second or third option, which is less costlier to you, but you should try to use the latest tools and technology. Then that will help you towards the better deliverables. That's why. Then you should always introduce the new tools and processes. So that will also going to help you out during your deliverables, whether it's a manufacturing unit, whether it's a professional services, you are a lawyer, you are a chartered accountant, you are a consultant, you are a agent, anything. Try to use the new tools and technologies and new processes into the picture. Then you should improve your skill. You should keep improve your skill. Like I'm improving my skill by learning Python, by learning machine learning. You should also do that. Everyone should do that. Whether they are 50 years in their business, they're 10 years in the business, they're in 2 years in the business. You should improve your skills. You should keep doing it. R&D is important. You should put some efforts into R&D, like learn new technologies. Basically, you should spend some time into improving your skills or finding out new methods. For an example, there is a manufacturer company who's having some problem with the quality. They should try do the Six Sigma process into there, or they should go for some certification where they put the compulsion on doing certain process. So you should put some R&D into it so that it improves your deliverables. Then you should have a high standard for yourself and for your business. You should never do the cheap thing. You should never do the cheap code. You should never do the cheap logic. You should follow all the algorithm that you have learned during the MCA, all the data structure that you have learned during your MCA, and all the operating system concepts like memory management, process management. If you learned all those things, you should put that into the practice on your daily life being a programmer. If you do that, you will see a difference in yourself versus others. That's what industry expects from you. That's what Google, Facebook, Amazon, and all that type of company expects from you on a daily basis. So if you're following that, then you're following high standards. So whatever you are doing, you should follow the high standards on that. Whether you are a teacher, you should have the high standards of doing that. If you do that, you are delivering good. You are going to deliver the good. And then to improve that, you should remove the distractions. So you identify the distractions which deviates you from being delivering the good thing. You should distract those things. The final thing, which is not part of this presentation, I was not planning to do that, but I thought I should cover being a part of entrepreneurship, is failures. You know this guy, right? His name is Thanos. And there's a one line that he says in this movie, in the first and second part, that he's inevitable. You cannot avoid him. So that is the thing with the failure also. They are also inevitable. You will face the failures, whether it's a small failure, whether it's a big failure, but they are inevitable. So you should prepare for it. You feel lucky if you find the failures in the very beginning of your career or your whatever you're doing in your journey. If you find it in the beginning period, that's good. That will give you so much clarity on certain things. But if you don't have that, better you do it fast. So when I'm saying fail fast, doesn't mean that you deliberately try to fail fast, But basically, you do certain thing in your mind, just do it very quickly with the risk of getting failed. Even though, just do it. If you keep doing it very fast, you can quickly learn about it. You can quickly calibrate your goal about it, your process about it, your strategy about it. So if you are prepared to fail fast, that would be even better. Then the thing is that you should not quit. If you failure, then do not quit. Just keep doing it. Do not quit. If you're passionate about it, keep doing it. If you're not passionate about it, if you think that it's now out of date, then you can change. But otherwise, do not quit. Learn and come back. If you are feeling failures, learn from it, but come back. There is always chance to come back. Because failures are not end of the world. You know that in the first part of the Avengers, they all died, right? But that's not the end of the world. In the second part, they come back. So failure is not end of the world for you. Maybe that's an end of that business. It can be end of that business if that's a huge failure. Maybe it's the end of this current career. Maybe you can find another career, but it's not end of the world. If it is, even if it is end of your career, it's still not end of the world, because you still have your family. You have so much other things to do to contribute to the society and so many other things. So never get disappointed and like stop doing what you are doing, facing the failure. So just you should have that also in your mind. So these are the things. And the last thing is that you should doing with ownership. Whenever you are failing, you should put your effort, but with the ownership. That is important thing. Now, out of all these things, being an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean that you start your business. I am putting that in my requirements, and I have seen in many other requirements that they need a candidate for doing certain job as an employee, but with an entrepreneurship mindset or entrepreneur mindset. So all in all, entrepreneurship or entrepreneur is just a mindset. It's not that you're starting your own business. Even if you're doing job, but you are doing it with an ownership that you are entitled to do that. You have ownership to do certain thing. That's an entrepreneurship. If you are a CEO in an Indian branch for Amazon or for the Southeast Asia branch in the Amazon, you are still getting salary for it. You are not the owner of it, but still there is an entrepreneurship into that. So whatever you do, whether it's a job or a business, you should have that entrepreneurship mindset into it. That's the way to move forward in the future. If you have that age-old mindset of doing certain thing with the clock mindset, that is not going to help you long run in your career. So have that ownership mindset. And when I say ownership, that's an entrepreneurship mindset, whatever you are doing. So that is really important thing. Thank you everyone for listening me. It's been a long time. I think we have passed the time that has been assigned. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. But I definitely wish best wishes for you.
Thank you, Mr. Dharin. Students who have questions, they can write in their chat panel, or else they can unmute themselves and ask to sir. Students, please.